Today, I want to talk about the difference between Lightroom Classic and Lightroom. Just Lightroom. Also, there's a mobile version that you can use. But it may be confusing to someone who just signs up with Adobe and you see Lightroom Classic, LRC, and Lightroom. Are they both the same? Are they different? Should I use one over the other? Can I use both? Why would I use either one of them? So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. In a past video, I talked about applications, programs that I could not live without on my laptop as a professional photographer. You can watch that if you want to, but one of them was Lightroom Classic and Lightroom. Spoiler, I use both of them as a working professional, but for different reasons. I think the biggest difference between these two programs is photo storage. For instance, Lightroom, the one that just says Lightroom, is mostly cloud storage, whereas Lightroom Classic is external storage, right? It's external storage, offline storage, not cloud storage. So you've got cloud storage with Lightroom, and you have to provide storage either through your laptop, computer, desktop, or external device to use Lightroom Classic. Those are both good and bad things. And those right there are the specific reasons why I actually use both. I definitely think you should be backing up your images to more than one external hard drive for redundancy's sake. One of the bigger perks to the newest version of Lightroom, which is not Lightroom Classic, is cloud storage. Talked about this in another video, but it's really, really, really convenient to be able to start an edit on your phone and finish it later when you get to your comfy desk with the big screen, or vice versa. Having access to edited images all in one place that's accessible to your phone or your desktop, provided that you have a network connection, that's very helpful in today's fast-paced world of social media. However, for my client work, I still prefer the organization and structure of a traditional Lightroom catalog, which is only available in Lightroom Classic. Now, yes, I know that you can make bins, you can make folders, collections in the newer version of Lightroom, but I still just really like the older version of Lightroom for its file management. For instance, if I have a client like Star Fitness, who's been a client for a little over 3 years now, I have a singular Lightroom catalog for Star Fitness, and underneath there, I have every month for the past 3 years as a separate collection. So I can go to any Star Fitness image all in one place. It also doesn't muddy things up for other clients. So if I have a client, I like to make a catalog for them. The next thing is kind of obvious if you've ever opened both of them, and it's physically just the user interface. The user interface of the newer version is newer. It does not seem as old as the classic version. That may seem obvious in the name, but you can just kind of tell that the newer version would also perform and behave well on a mobile phone or any iPad or anything like that. So the differences in the user interface don't really affect functionality, but I mean, if you're someone who cannot deal with the older look of Lightroom Classic, then perhaps you should just stick with Lightroom. There's nothing wrong with that. I do have a big gripe with the newer version though. Specifically when you're on a mobile phone, you cannot duplicate a photo. And that may seem dumb to you that that's a gripe of mine, but oftentimes I really enjoy making two edits on the same image. So I will typically make a color image and a black and white image. On desktop, all you do is create a virtual copy or you duplicate the photo and you can make two separate images. I have found a workaround using the versions on the mobile app, but it's just, I don't know why that feature is not there. It seems very simple that they could just right click or press and hold, duplicate the photo, but definitely a bummer. Not a deal breaker, definitely a bummer. I'm sure someone who's extensively used these programs for years could point out another one, but the only functionality thing that I think is missing between the two is the calibration tab. Now, the calibration tab exists in Lightroom Classic, but not in the newer version of Lightroom. Basically, the calibration tab only has like 4 sliders. You can change your shadow tint from green to magenta. You can globally adjust that on the image. But where I think the real power is under the red, green, and blue sliders, RGB, right? That's their primary colors. You can make adjustments to the overall hue of the red, the green, and the blue channels. Now, why this is different than the HSL sliders on the HSL tab is if you're changing the blue slider here, you're not only changing blue, but you're changing the neighbors, right? The secondary colors. If you think of the color wheel, you're changing those as well. So it's a very powerful tool, something that I definitely think less is more. I don't make great, massive changes here. Like honestly, -4, -5, to +4, +5, and you're gonna notice a drastic change in your image. Not a deal breaker. There's other ways around it, but I have kind of gotten used to the calibration tab. Kind of a bummer that it's not in the newer version. So to kind of wrap things up and give you my final thoughts, as I stated earlier, as a working professional, I still use both of these. There are both differences and similarities. And I have found that for my workflow preferences, I like to use both. You may be someone who could just get by with the newer version, in which case you would never have to deal with Lightroom catalogs, external storage, all those things. You could just rely on cloud storage. But I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have dabbled with both, or maybe you have found that you can only get by with the one, let me know in the comments below which one you use and why you use that one. If you've tried Lightroom Classic and you're confused as to how it works, I'd love to help you out. I think it's very, very, very powerful. Again, the features are the same for the most part. Honestly, I think that all comes down to which one of these applications fits your workflow the best. Like I said, I have found a way to use both effectively in various workflow scenarios. This was not a deep technical dive into the performance or this wasn't an editing video, but I was just trying to help clear up any confusion that you may have if you just came over to Adobe. Maybe you've just started and you logged into your photography account and you said, what is the difference between Lightroom Classic and Lightroom? Hopefully this helped clear up some of that confusion. I really would like to know which one you prefer in the comments below. Chances are if you prefer one for a specific reason, you're probably not alone. And I always like to read in the other comment sections of videos the conversations that's taken place. The questions I've been asking often are answered by someone else in the comments. So be sure to let me know why you prefer one over the other. Stick around and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me in the future. You don't have to. I'm not going to force you to, but I would appreciate it if you did. Keep shooting, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Stick around and subscribe if you'd like to see me. If you'd like to see me. Technically, yes, I guess you would see me. I'll probably sound like an old fart. Look at the guy in Gran Torino. I'll die on my Lightroom Classic hill. I'm saying, why can't you just use both? If you want to use both, use both. You don't have to make one of them completely work for your workflow if you don't want to. I haven't. They're both still on my taskbar thing down here at the bottom of my MacBook. One click away, both of them, because I use both of them all the time.